Hi, my name is Sarah Madsen, and for this project I did a research thing on comparing communication styles between Alaskan Native cultures and the Western culture. Why is this so important? Well, now that 64% of Alaskan Natives are living in urban areas, the Western culture is coming much more in contact with this group, and miscommunications are arising, not from them speaking Tlingit or Yupik or one of their indigenous languages, but between the communication styles within both speaking English. Why this is kind of important to me is I work at Ryan Middle School here in Fairbanks as a speech-language pathologist, and Ryan is the most culturally diverse middle school here in Fairbanks. My son is also Inupiat, and I noticed that he does have some of these communication styles that are seen a lot in the Inupiat culture. And so I'm hoping that this presentation will help when miscommunications arise, help people sort them out and maybe prevent some, and then just to be also aware of some of the stereotypes associated with Alaskan Natives and their communications that often arise because of their communication styles. Okay, so we're going to go into some of these communication differences. The wait time, which can be defined as the time between when I stop speaking in a conversation and the next person takes their turn in the conversation. In the Western culture, sometimes this can be as little as no time, as we often just interrupt the other person. Sometimes it can be maybe like two, three seconds. With the Alaskan Native culture, sometimes this can be as long as 5 to 10 seconds. So sometimes what I do, sometimes when I'm waiting for a response from a student, sometimes I'll silently count in my head, and that gives me something to focus on, and also it lets me know that not that much time has passed, because in the Western culture we're a lot of times uncomfortable with silence, and so then we start filling in. So before the person has a chance to answer, we might rephrase the question, ask another question, maybe assume they don't even know the answer, make it easier. And so it's really important to allow this wait time. Also, when the Alaskan Native person is speaking, sometimes their pauses between their sentences or their thoughts, even though they're not finished with their turn on the conversation, we have a tendency to just jump in because we think they're done, because their pause between their sentences is as long as our pause to allow the next person their turn. And so along with that, silence is they're a lot more comfortable with silence. And often you'll see this when they're visiting or getting to know somebody. They'll just sit for a while, and then they might start the conversation. So you have to be a lot more comfortable with silence. Okay, the second point is speaking about self. In the Western culture, we lots of times will put our best foot forward. We have a tendency to brag or tell people what we're good at. But in Alaskan Native cultures, lots of times this is really frowned upon. You don't brag about yourself. You wouldn't, let me pause for a minute.